Woohoo! So not surprisingly, Sally made it to the competitiveness core team. That was an amazing video. So when I saw this video, I was actually super happy because this was another signal that, okay, there is energy. I mean, she put together this thing. She wanted to join the core competitiveness team. So this was again an indication that, okay, the plane now is actually starting to move on the runway. The PLT is also emotionally engaged. So we need now to fuel that momentum on the runway. In a pragmatic way, this way people are seeing that this time is different. This time we are getting on the right side of the crossroad I was talking about. So what we did, we borrowed the very first page from the agile movement in software development with a tweak. So in 2001, 17 or 18 developers, software developers, gathered in a resort in the mountain of Utah, and they basically talk about reinventing software development. And what came out of this today's session was the Agile Manifesto. And when you look at it, it's basically a bunch of from two statements that talk about how are we going to shift our mindset, are we going to shift our behaviors from a software development standpoint. And this Agile Manifesto basically started the process for the agile revolution, and they took off, and they've been in cruising altitude for 20 years basically. So what do I mean by borrowing the very first page from the agile movement? So here we needed to demonstrate that the PLT was serious about agility, competitiveness, and innovation. So the idea is for the senior leadership team, the PLT in that case, to basically do something similar than the software developers and basically spell out from two. What are we going to do differently, starting at the top level to promote, role model, and enable the new ACI culture, agility, competitiveness, and innovation. So Nicole, what came out of this process?
Yes. So once again, we GSK sized it, as we like to say. Nimble Manifesto did not resonate with us. And so our language was to create a Nimble Manifesto called the PLT Culture Contract. So that was the Pharma leadership team contracting with the employees and publicly sharing this, that these were the behaviors and mindsets that we were agreeing to. We were agreeing to demonstrate them, role model them, show up in meetings. And this is the from to that Edmond was referring to. And this, again, came directly from the employee feedback. There was some key points from the employees that helped us identify the other two pillars, in addition to agility, but also to identify these behaviors that they were looking for us to change and do better. And so we created that contract. We shared it at the beginning of meetings. We published it via email, and we very, very visually, publicly made it known that this is what we were being asked to be held accountable to. And in order to help and support that behavior change of ourselves, call it out. You'll see below there's a call it out license plate at the bottom. And we gave our employees permission, encouragement, a safe place to say, give us feedback if you don't see us demonstrating this, and give us feedback if we are demonstrating it, because we're humans too, so we need a little bit of encouragement and positive reinforcement. And so just before I hand it over to Edmond to talk about another activity that we implemented, the leaders, directors, and manager levels so liked this that they said, well, we want it as well. We want to be able to use it. And we're saying, well, we're not, of course, you can do whatever you want with it. It's just really important that we, the Pharma leadership team, have committed to this. We know we have changes to make. We want to do better. And so our managers and our directors also started using it for themselves. So over to Edmond for something else we did.
Yeah, the second pragmatic step we took to really fuel the momentum on the runway was to design and run a series of decision-making sprints. So the first focus was on agility, and more specifically, agile decision-making. And so the idea of decision-making sprint was the best way to learn how to make agile decision-making is to make actual decisions. So learning while making actual decisions. That was the whole concept. So the idea is that people came up with say, oh, we have a decision to make, important decision with a bunch of players from different functions involved. So we are gathering a small group of the key players to make that decision in a room, virtual room. And the idea was 90 minutes, 1 hour, let's act the decision in an agile way using agile tool. And then the second part of the discussion, the last half an hour, was let's extract some learning that we can share with the rest of the organization. So this eventually became a playbook for agile decision making. But the other thing, because we had the 2 members of the PLT that were coming to this decision hacker sprint. In that case, it was these 2 folks here. The idea is for the other participants to provide feedback regarding the culture contract. And eventually, we wanted the decision hacker sprints to become the new normal. So we had 2 business leaders also participating as observers. Then they became facilitators. So I did, I think, 6 of them. And then they took it from there. And they kept running these decision hacker sprints every time there was a need to make a decision. I'm still involved with GSK, not on the culture shift, obviously, but at a more tactical level with some divisions. And 2 weeks ago, a member was saying, an associate was saying, oh, I was part of a self-managed decision hacker sprint the other day. So for me, this was a beautiful story because it tells me that they've reached cruising altitude. It's not now part of the way they do things basically at GSK. Let's make a little bit of a stop here.